Ranjit, we all have nostalgic memories of Goa in the 90s, or maybe a little into the millennium. Today, is Goan hospitality the same as seen in the 90s? And the second part to that is we talk about automation and AI. Will that affect the hospitality impact?
Great question. So, firstly, I'm not that old. So, in the 90s, I was still a young innkeeper. I was just learning the trade. But what I'm told about Goa is the kind of clientele that came in the 90s was very different. I think you had one clientele which was very niche, which went into the high end, and the other side of it were people who were coming to explore, get the sun, see Pusegar, and they were staying in homestays, they were staying in smaller hotels and apartments. And I think what they wanted was just to get away from where they were and come to a place like Goa. And the best part of Goa, I'm told in those days, was that connect that you made with the locals. So I think the kind of clientele at that time was very different. Today, I think the clientele has changed. I think the guests who travel have become a lot more savvier. Their expectations are much more. Today, you have world class hotels which are here, bring in that global standards of service. They bring in all those elements. But still, the essence of Goa is there, where you talk about that whole connect with them, that warmth that you see. That hasn't changed over the years. Technology, very important. Today, we can't do without it. It is very critical. But what I think technology does is it makes mundane processes easier. And what that also then does is the staff are able to get all that out of the way, spend that much more time with the guests, and build that connection with them. So I think that is what has changed over the since the 90s to today. It is the kind of clientele today. Technology is very important, and there is a whole element today in Goa of sustainability, wellness, and things like that. So that is what I
Okay.
would say.
All right. Thank Ranjit. Thank you. I'm going to address this to you.
Sure.
Because unlike maybe most of y'all, I came into Goa in the 90s, all right, with the Taj. And as he rightly says, the client profile was different. But when we're talking about the ethos and culture, we used to walk on the Mandovi and the ferry boat fellow, "Ko ha re baba, bore ha, tu kaniste zai." Those sort of greetings that used to come across. Do you think that has eroded some of the charm of Goa?
My first visit to Goa was to open this hotel, which is way back in 2012-13. So I only read about the 90s or the millennium, uh, what it used to be, and heard about it. But over the period of last 12 years or a decade that I've been here, I would say Goa is definitely one of the very few places where this charm of the greetings, greeting the strangers, and thanking when a car lets you pass by still exists. And again, my exposure to Goa, I have chosen it to be such, is primarily in the south of Goa. With all due respect, it's much more serene, what I feel. It's a very personal opinion, but I feel that charm still remains. And in terms of the profile of the change in the tourists, there is a palpable change that I still see would happen over the last 12 years. I see also because of the advent of social media, priorities have changed. A lot of streets have become social media spots, which I possibly didn't see so much a decade before. Goa also has, it's not, it's a fact that there are many other tourism destinations which have emulated Goan culture or the elements and have come up. So that has also created a change the profiling of the tourists. We currently, from a commercial way, we are highly dependent on the MICE tourism. The dependence is ever growing. That's definitely a change that I see. I see the food and beverage scene of Goa has become much more institutionalized in the sense the mom and pop shacks and have become much more structured. Great restaurants and innovations are happening. So yeah, those are the changes that I see. But the ethos have, I personally think ethos have remained same. But that's my opinion over the last 12 years only. I can't compare with what used to be in 80s and 90s.
All right. Bharat, you have come on and off, and I think this was also part of your region at one time. What do you feel about the change?
Thank you, Odette, firstly, for having me here. Really, really delighted. Thank you. Firstly, I would say that my journey with Goa started way back in 80s, the mid 80s actually. When Goa was looking much sleepier, much slower, and everything was moving at its own slow pace, and there was life in Goa at that point of time. And Joe was there in one program. I remember we had this leadership development program that spread over 3 weeks. So I had a good flavor of Goa at that point of time. But what has really changed over the decades, I would say, is like everywhere else. I think one has to just accept that change because development is going to be part of that change. And Goa is actually undergoing the transformation in terms of development and in all spaces, whether it's culinary side, whether it's real estate, whether it is hotels, or just the profile of the clientele that is coming here. India used to come to Goa to see European faces, because this was the only state in this country where you had tourists who used to come from various parts of the world, and you could interact with them, and you could have chit chat with them, and so on and so forth. But what has also changed today is the influx of domestic tourism in this part of Goa, across India, but Goa particularly. Imagine we had 5,500 odd rooms in 2015, for everybody's information. Today we are sitting on 11,000 rooms. Can you imagine the change that has happened just in a decade? And more to come, and more to come. As Anjan rightly said, the culinary landscape has changed tremendously. And when I saw those 8 restaurants on the Condé Nast list, I was very impressed that Goa has 8 restaurants in the best restaurants in India. So very, very, very heartwarming and very encouraging. So what the chefs are doing from the creative side, from the innovative side, and the way they're positioning their cuisine is absolutely splendid, marvelous, and kudos to them who are doing this great job. Not that the hotel restaurants are not doing their job; they're also doing a tremendous job. But I think that's the transformation that I see from at least from the time that I came in the 80s to what we are seeing today. And of course, along with that, there is development of highways and airports and so on and so forth. So lots of positives, I would say, and that's part of the change. And I think if you talk of capacity building, you require this actually. Yeah.
Right, thank you. That was question 1, but I'm taking a page of what he said about the restaurants. And I have come to realize, at least feedback from a lot of associates in the hotel industry, they say when the tourists come to stay in a hotel, they come with bucket lists as to where they should eat out. And if you're talking about Condé Nast, a lot of our starred hotels have not featured in that list, which may be a Wasabi Wood or, those type of restaurants. The question is, what is happening to the restaurant cuisines in our hotels, and why do people prefer to eat out? Ranjan.
Unfortunate, but it's a fact that the restaurants in the hotels are still not decentralized in the sense they operate as a part of the hotel. So, a lot of times I feel for a restaurant or for a food and beverage space to be successful, it's to be, frankly speaking, to be led by the chefs, the culinary heads, the one who's the artist. Now, the restaurants and hotels still operate under that centralized model of the general management. I'm just using technical words because we are all aware of. I am not sure if that's the reason of not having great innovation in hotels and restaurants in hotels. Of course, there are many exceptions. Bukhara is one, Wasabi is one, Golden Dragon is one. In Oberoi Hotels, 360, they have done a fantastic job. But barring very few, Great Kebab Factory has done a brilliant job. But barring few, not many has many restaurants have sprung up as culinary innovators in the hotels, whereas in freestanding restaurants, I think they work. There is a lot more uh, scape for one to innovate. uh, that's possibly a reason. And and as you rightly said, Goa or many other cities also, uh, you aspire to go to a freestanding restaurant, a papa's, or many other places which are doing well are all freestanding. The chefs who are leading it, chefs or culinary heads, the artists who are leading it. Avinash is doing a fantastic job. Ex Oberoi colleague, he's running two fantastic restaurants, Janat and Cavatina here. But he could do it when he came out of the structured mode. So we as enablers, we possibly have to think, how can I declutter it and create the space for them to, uh, you know, create a scape for them to work on, paint their cuisine.
Ranjit, linked to that again, I know that in the Taj you'll do have some specialty restaurants like Paper Moon and the Banyan Tree. Uh, there are a few in other places like also. My question is a little bit different. I know that Taj doesn't do it, but we're talking about Goa in general. We invite pop-up chefs. We invite specialists to come into and share their knowledge, maybe do a little bit of interaction, get in the locals to join in. What ails our chefs to try and maybe copy or learn some of these dishes and put it as a specialty card on the table for the guests? What stops them from doing this?
I have a slightly different opinion to what was just said. I truly believe that Goa today, in my opinion, is like the Saint Sebastian of India. I said the kind of standalone restaurants that you have is one side of it. The other side of it is some of the fantastic restaurants we have in hotels. Now, I truly believe that both can coexist, and sort of when both coexist, what usually happens is it elevates the entire dining experience or the dining offerings in a state like Goa. Now, look at it from the point of view, a standalone restaurant, those chefs are they're very, what do I say, courageous. They try different things. They think out of the box. They bring a lot of that innovation. In hotels, you usually find a lot more service orientation. There is a lot more finesse in the way that is done. There is a lot more aspect is given to the whole decor of the space. And I think what is now happening, the only winner out of all this is the guest. Because a guest who comes to Goa today, he can go and have a meal at a shack. He can go and have a meal in one of the restaurants that is listed in the top 50, or he can come to a place like Paper Moon and have a real fine dining restaurant experience. I truly believe that both are learning from each other. So hotels are learning from standalone restaurants today, where we are learning how to get innovative. We have very robust beverage programs in place. We have also got chefs who are doing, as you rightly said, pop-ups all over. In fact, I have a lot of my chefs who have gone and done pop-ups of Goan food in other states. Also, standalone restaurants, on the other hand, they are strengthening their back-end systems like the hoteliers have been doing for years. They also have that emphasis on a little bit more finesse in their service. So overall, what I see and my opinion is that the entire environment of culinary space in Goa is completely coexisting. You have both spheres working, and it is all for the benefit of the guest, and it positions Goa in a fantastic place. As Mr. Jamal said, some of those restaurants which are in the top 50 are truly outstanding. And some of them, I can say, if they open a restaurant like that in Dubai, it'll do extremely well. On the other hand, some of the restaurants in the hotels that I see have elevated themselves so much. And the kind of food we do, the kind of pop ups we do, the kind of beverage programs we have is very, very exciting. And to answer your question briefly, I think, yes, when we do have chefs who come and do these pop ups with us, we ensure that a lot of our chefs train with them, learn the skills, and I don't see what stops us from putting a little section in our menus to sort of promote that kind of cuisine. And it is something that I've made a mental note, and we could be doing it in the near future.
That sounds
And
good.
just to add to, I fully concur with what Ranjit said, because I think the hotels today are sitting on an extremely, what can I say, outstanding talent in terms of the culinary landscape. What is possibly missing is that we don't market our restaurants as well as the freestanding restaurants do. We need to market our restaurants better. Um, you imagine a hotel restaurant that has got a financial backing of a company, of a brand, of promoters, and you can give that chef the wings to fly, and say, this restaurant should be 80% to capacity for lunch and dinner both, should do well, and that's the core strength of a brand and of companies, which we don't leverage. Number three, I think what hotels possibly, if I may add, which sometimes is missing, is that we are not getting enough of the, the much spoken word of Gen Z and millennials. Yeah, the hotels are not attracting that volumes. Possibly we need to, as hotels need to possibly reinvent the offerings that can actually attract this huge market that exists, which can be in forms of casual dining, and can be unique, so to say, experience places and so on and so forth. And last but not the least is, I think I was just reading a report yesterday, and one interesting thing that was mentioned in the report, was, I'm not going to recall which report it was that the hotels are also now looking for trying to collaborate with branded restaurants, to bring them in the hotel, and to partner with chefs and say, we have this place, would you like to do it as a partnership? And more hotels are looking for that, actually. So it's a win-win situation, as Ranjit said, for the customer and for the business, for the brand.
No, I noted,
Yeah.
just to pick up on what Mr. Jamal was saying, I think there is also a perception in people's mind that when you have to go to a Taj or a hotel like that, it's very expensive. That is a perception. And what we did very, very successfully during the monsoons is we, for about 7, 8 of our specialty restaurants, we did something called the Goa Monsoon Feast. And we went the social media channel way. So we pushed it out there, we made an offer. You could basically come to a Taj restaurant like Paper Moon or Banyan Tree or DPP or wherever, and have a 2-course meal for 850 rupees.
Wow, that's good.
So when you did that, so you had a 2-course for 850, 3-course for 1,000, and 4-course for 1,200. Suddenly we had queues outside the restaurants. And what that did was people came, they saw, then they realized that it actually is not that expensive.
It's really good.
Yeah, and that was so successful only by social media, by offering this and changing people's perception. And you can do that easily digitally today. So when we did that, we saw a huge improvement. We went from the previous year of about 50 lakhs, we took it in a month to almost 1.2 crores, just by having footfalls. So we are thinking differently as hoteliers, and the Taj has 400 restaurants across. So for us, we need to sort of push it out there and make people realize that there is a great side of culinary dining that we offer, or hotels offer.
Taking on from what you're saying, there are many hotels also, and this monsoon program was brilliant. I think the decoupling of the restaurants from the hotels were very, very crucial, and you successfully did it. And also, I do see in future companies like Taj or Oberoi or ITC, you will be opening your branded restaurants as freestanding, which Oberoi has already done.
Yep.
I think that's also coming.
No,
So that
absolutely.
decoupling
Absolutely. We've done that already. We opened a Bombay Brasserie in Singapore.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fantastic.
So those are the kind of things
Yeah,
that are
absolutely.
happening, and today culinary
definitely
is
coming.
so important. People travel for food. I would travel kilometers for food. So yeah.
And
Very-
also, I think just to add to the one of the strengths that the hotels have actually is the fact that their ability to get ingredients that freestanding restaurants sometimes can't procure them.
True.
From overseas, from whichever part of the world, coupled with the kind of wine choices and so on and so forth. So there is a huge strength that the brands have, and I think it's only time to possibly just, as I said initially, to market that better maybe. Yeah.
Now, you're using the word marketing, and I'm taking a page of that. I'm not talking about any independent brand, I'm talking in general. Because sometimes in smaller places, maybe a four-star hotel, we have a very creative chef who's not thought about. So the question here is, our marketing teams, we have senior people, are they generally focus more on rooms and bringing in influencers? So the question is, these influencers at times don't get a chance to really understand what the food is all about. And there are sometimes very negative reviews coming about Goa. It depends on how we treat that particular situation. So the question is, what is your reflection on this type of marketing that at times goes on?
I think it is mostly they're not solicited. In other words, they have done it for their own reels virality. There are many ways of making your content viral. One of them is creating a content which is possibly talking about something may not be true, but it's creating a curiosity, the hype, the curiosity. So a lot of times, of course, many projects, Goa as a project, Goa as a organism, Goa as a tourism destination, also have suffered that. But talking about your point that our marketing, hotel marketing teams getting influencers primarily focused towards rooms is not 100% because we are, of course, learning as we are focusing more and more on the food and beverage content. As a matter of fact, a hotel's positioning mostly, today's world, the content creation mostly happens through food and beverage because it's more alive, more dynamic. Your resort experiences, of course, do matter, but at times, beyond a point, it becomes a little monotonous. So, a lot of hotels, including our company, are focusing on two different skill sets of marketers. So there is a team which is possibly focusing towards the resort experiences and destination experiences, and a team which is focusing towards culinary or food and beverage related contents. And I'm sure many other hotels are also doing it. But about the negative influence or negative, I've seen a lot of points, a lot of friends of mine call from other cities and saying, "Oh, what's happening in Goa? I hear about that this is happening." This is part of the game. Since you're popular, you will have a portion who will be talking negative. And also, these are in today's world, they can be created. You can create any kind of misinformation, disinformation through just a toolkit, which one person can do it for over about 10 computers. So we will face it. We will continue to face it.
Yeah, it's not only for hotels, it also happened recently when we spoke about Goa, when there was so much of flack which was, just hitting us in all directions.
Yeah.
Now, when this sort of thing happens, and this is just a learning, do you feel that we should take them on head on social media and rebrand ourselves or recreate the right feeling? What is your viewpoint on that?
In the olden traditional ways of doing it was it's primarily room marketing. You market your room and an offset of that is the F&B. Today, especially let's say in Goa itself, in IHL Goa, we have an F&B marketing person whose only job is to market restaurants.
That's good.
So, which was not done before.
Yes.
So that was something that I saw in Dubai, where the digital marketing, the creator, the content creation, and the F&B marketing, we hired them on board, gave them the equipment, and said, "Go crazy and compete against standalone restaurants."
That's interesting.
Because you see, what happens is you need to make every restaurant of yours as hoteliers as destinations. People should say we are going to Banyan Tree. They shouldn't say we're going to Holiday Village. People should say we're going to Paper Mill, not to Fort Aguada. The moment you do that, half your battle is won. And I think that is the most important. And in IHCL also today, we have one of our executive vice presidents who looks after the entire F&B portfolio now.
Wow.
That is the kind of emphasis that we are putting on it. And it is important to do because it is such an essential part of tourism, of travel, and I think you can showcase so much. So that's one part of it. The other thing is, see, like I said, there will be negative thing. How I look at it is, if people are talking negative, they really care about the state. Otherwise, if they didn't care, they wouldn't talk about it. So they really care, they're invested in it, so they will say the good and the bad. It is up to us as hoteliers, as the government, and as various sort of organizations to take whatever they are
Just
saying,
coming up.
learn from it, fix it, do the best we can, and put it out there. You cannot keep everybody happy. I'm a true believer of that. But I also say, like we do in our hotels, in our restaurants, we take feedback from our clients and we work on them and we fix them. What we can fix. Whatever we can't fix, we put a roadmap to it and we fix it eventually. So I don't really think it is something which is worrying me. I think as a state, the government is very focused on that. They've also got a lot of influencers who say good and bad. And I think with TTAG and GCCI, we all are working towards fixing some of those issues that they are highlighting. And I only look at it that way, that it's fine. It's people have opinions and they're welcome to it.
Parag, what do you feel? You're dealing with young kids most of the time in your campus, and they're so, what do you say, tech heavy.
As far as the young generation is concerned, I mean, it's a given. I mean, they spend more time on this than anything else, really.
True.
So they're constantly, if they don't have this, possibly they won't be able to sleep. So, because that's the what you call fodder you have. But that said, I think just to talk of Goa, personally, I think it's whatever chatter that you see in social media, lots of things that you read in print and news media. I think it's overhyped also, because I think Goa still has a soul, still has that spirit. Every Goan, I think, feels very proud of, of the service that they provide to the travelers. No other state in this country, I can say with great confidence, has the same kind of feeling for saying that, come, welcome to Goa and be here and enjoy yourself. Um, I think Goa has it. Um Compare yourself to Phuket, to Bali, to you. All those destinations have big problems. They have traffic jams. They have issues of scams and so on, and and many more. I don't want to say all that, but there's many more. But I think Goa is still, I would say, much more serene, much more welcoming, and I think it's the people who make it happen. It's the people of Goa that make it happen. I think it's a vow that everybody has to take, that we will need to make a difference. What's in our control?
Yes.
We talk of things that are not in our control.
True.
We need to make that happen and take a vow, say, we love our guests, we make sure that the best breakfast, the best arrival experience, the best transport, doesn't matter what kind of transport it is, but the person who's driving it just makes so much difference. Actually, the person who makes the difference. To me, I think that's the story of a holiday destination, leisure destination. Rest of it is all, I mean, there will always be some downsides and challenges that will always remain. I think government is spending a lot of money, as Ranjit was saying, in developing Goa from the infrastructure point of view, and many other policy changes that are happening. I think we are only what can I say? We are in a very sweet spot as far as tourism is concerned, as far as Goa is concerned, and in fact, as far as country is concerned.
Now, since we have so many principals who have come here, catering college faculty, and since you two are here, we did a little data out of 3 colleges, and last year, out of 211 students that passed out, only 37 were girls. And when we talk about the hospitality industry, I think an equal balance at least would be needed. What are your views on skill and development?
Today we have 550 hotels. Our aim is to have 700 by 2030. And I have a feeling we'll do it by 2028, the speed at which we are going. In order to sort of service that, you need associates at various levels to do that. So there are a couple of things that we are doing. So firstly, in order to sort of drive skilling, to give people those industrial skills, we are running almost 46 skill centers across India. where we are skilling all the local youth and getting them up to speed on that. In fact, our plan is that our MD had recently announced we plan to build the biggest skilling center of India
Wow, that's good.
in Goa. So that is our first sort of thing we want to do. Obviously, we also have other programs. So we do a lot of apprentice training. We have a tie-up with IHM where we send all our HODs and our chefs to go there and teach them so that they can be skilled up. We also have a golden threshold program which we run where we take local youth, almost 30, 35 of them, give them 3 years of training across all departments, and then we absorb them. The best part of that is a lot of the staff that we are training is not only for IHCM, it is for tourism in general. Whether it is tourism in Goa or any other state, it's fine as long as it's towards tourism. And in India, tourism is a very big piece.
It is.
If I'm not mistaken, almost 10%
Yeah, it's almost
is
bordering that. Yeah.
yeah, it's around that much. And of course, in Goa, we do need that. Talking about gender diversity, very important. In fact, we all have within our organization a target of having almost 25 to 30% of our workforce to be women. And in my leadership team, current leadership team today, I have two young
General
ladies
managers.
who are heading iconic hotels. I have Mega heading, Fort Aguada. I have Sheetal who looks after Taj Exotica and Palalam, and the Amas which are in South. So it is very, very important. What we are also doing for ladies is we have something called our Diva program that we have in the organization, where it's like a second career for also which we offer to ladies who have used to be in the industry, taken a break, gone looked after their families, and we give them an opportunity to come back and join. And we have specific targets that are there in order to achieve that. So even as a leader, every general manager and myself, we keep an eye on it on a monthly basis and see where we are against that target, because I think women add a really different angle to hospitality, and they're a very essential part of this thing. And we as hoteliers need to do whatever we can in order to attract them into our industry, because they bring a very different aspect or an angle to the business we are in.
Okay. So this, Anand, this is for you. Uh, Most hotels, I'm not referring to any specific one, profitability is the name of the game. And at times, I don't know if that's the cause, but the attrition rate in hotels or restaurants, even restaurants, is very high. Uh, Number one is how could we manage to work on that and retain people? In the olden days, it was loyalty and all this sort of things. It doesn't exist now. How do we retain the people? And the second question is, if we are talking about incentives, like Air India recently, there was a big social media write up where you start as a air hostess at something like 59,000 per month to 61,000. They have put forth their, what they would like to attract good quality people. What are your views on this?
Well, retention is, of course, I mean, everybody would agree that retaining right kind of people is very, very important. Engaged team members. For this hotel, since it's longest running hotel, or this is a 12 years old hotel, 10 years old. Uh, for example, in the HOD team of this hotel, almost I think 85% people who joined the pre-opening are still existing. In our Bombay hotels also, more than 70-75% people have been working for more than about 8 years. So retention has been a key focus in our organization. Of course, at the younger team members levels, attrition is more, or rather, the turnaround is more, which I take it as a good thing, because as an organization, I personally feel that you're not only selling the hotel or the resort or the organization to the guests, but we are in the guest market as much as in the employees market. So from the day one, uh, that has been our goal. And at the junior level or at the younger team members level, this particular or all our hotels have been generally considered to be a good training ground, which has been a good thing, because you have people who come and join, work here for a couple of years, go out in the market, but they're also spreading goodness of our hotel. So that turnaround is a good thing. At the same time, you're attracting more and more, I would say, the right kind of profile because you are considered to be a good training ground. So these are essentially kept in mind at the very granular human resources level. Uh, in terms of in terms of profitability, I think that's a very key element. Also, ensuring that I mean, although it was your previous question in terms of gender equality, we do we have certain structured as well as in general programs where we try to attract all kind of diverse people. We do not run a program like the IHCL, which is the human skill, because we don't have the scale for that. But we have recruited people of that program trained by you at our hotels. We are also an employer who are formally, I think Taj is also an IHCL is also. We are part of the government's program for the people with who are specially able, and we are recognized for that. In fact, there is a program, there is a constant training that goes into to our human resources team members and the trainers, the training managers and executives. How do you handle our employees who are specially able?
Okay.
So yes, these small little programs are very important. Every company, including us, do it.
All right, interesting. Farhat, do you have anything to end?
No, I feel, a couple of months ago I had actually written a piece on young people, why they should join the hospitality industry. And the story basically was the fact that the industry needs to just market itself much better. We are not telling the youth the positive sides of the industry, the career growth, the kind of opportunities that you have. I mean, imagine a young person who comes and works in the hospitality industry. In 4 or 5 years, actually, many of them cannot imagine going overseas and training or getting an opportunity to work with the best chefs possible. Um, uh, and many other streams for career today that are there available in the all groups actually. And ISL, I know for a fact that they're fast tracking young people who join, then they can actually become a general manager in 6 to 7 years if you're great. So that is the career path that you're looking at, and we don't market that news very well to the youth. That's the reason why the hotel schools today are struggling. Of course, that has also got to do with some things of the past, which was basically the industry was not so conscious about the work-life balance, etc. But that has all changed now. I see this news at many conferences and industry leaders that I meet. They've all changed. I'm sure you have also looked at that. Say that how do you give them 6 hours in a month and better working hours and more time for themselves, etc. So all that is actually happening in the industry today, but the news does not get broadcasted well enough in the marketplace. We need more so to say industry leaders to talk about it, and if we don't talk about it, then it continue to be seen as industry that really slums people and doesn't treat people well and so on. So that's not really the truth. At least in the branded category of hotels, I think the story has changed now, and we're hoping that this is a blip that has happened in the last 3 4 years. I think it is going to turn around again. The hotel institutes are going to get back the young, so to say, people who want to do the programs. Also, the fact is that many of the hotel schools that opened mushroomed in this country without, with all respect to them, they were not even providing quality education. They were there as commoditized education, as I say. And every 5 rooms every hotel school, they're not providing quality education. So I think those people will also kind of, as you say, they may not be able to succeed. And I see that many such institutions have shut over the last 3 4 years. But I think the industry is going to bounce back, and I think the hospitality education also going to bounce back. We have a great partnership with ISCL for IHM, and I think an industry partner like ISCL is actually the best thing that a hotel school can imagine. and we get so much support from ISCL for various programs that they conduct, and the industry exposure that the young students get.
You know, it takes me back. I'm so happy that this is happening today. It takes me back when my first job as a trainee was 2 kilos of prawns to be shelled and 3 sacks of onions to be cleaned. And when I'm hearing now the change that has happened in the industry, it's something so vibrant, so nice to think about.
But to add to that is also the fact that you can't afford to wear a crown without working hard.
Okay,
I
so
must,
the onions are
must
still there to
remember
stay.
that. You have to work hard. There is no option. Option of saying that, oh, I will go home at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock. You got to work those hours. You will get time off, but you have to work hard. You have to work smart. And then only your future will look much brighter. You will grow as a great industry leader in whichever stream you are in, whether in culinary or in food service or wherever you are. And there are so many career streams today in hospitality itself. I mean, today there is this career in storytelling in the hospitality. Digital marketing has become a big thing today. Digital marketing is like a senior position today in the hotel. Why is it all there? Is because I think that is, as Ranjit said, all the social media amplifies whatever you're doing, and of course,
No, it's
yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. In a nutshell, I could spend the whole morning here, but unfortunately, this fireside chat, maybe someday we'll have it once again, because there's so many questions, I'm sure, in this group, which a lot of people would like. But thank you for spending the time and giving us your words of wisdom. And it really makes us happy. I'm speaking on behalf of everybody. Can we have a big round of applause for them, please?
Thank you, Odette. Thank you very much.